So then what happened?
Which, by the way, this is why you have to listen to the podcast.
Yes.
Because we talk about things here that we can't talk about on
Sunday mornings.
So
They
go
think
ahead.
that we're terrible.
So what ended up happening?
So I was like, okay, you wanna go there, and you wanna use that as a tool for your argument. Let's eliminate that. So I just went in the cabinet in the fridge, and I just started dumping a bottle of wine that we had, everything down the drain. And she was like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "Okay, you wanna fight like that?"
Hello and welcome to another episode of The Family Business with the Alessis, because family is everybody's business. So today I have around the podcast table my son-in-law Chris Muiña and my daughter Stephanie Muiña. She'll allow us to throw her middle name in there as she legally changed her name to Stephanie
Elaine Alessi
Muiña. Yep. Stephanie Elaine Alessi Muiña. She's taken on the Hispanic heritage. She's got a name that's super long. Well, I'm glad you're with us. We are in season 4, and the last time you have heard from Chris Muiña was back in season 1. So he is making his reappearance. Everybody's clapping. So to make sure that he would be spotted, he is a little bit. He's got more hair on his head and more facial hair. He's really showed up to work today, ready to go. I like the longer hair.
Thank you. And I've always been around. I just have been in the background. So I've been here probably more than I was in season 1.
Yes. Now he's in the background. Is that where you like to be?
Yeah, if I can.
Really?
I'm comfortable.
Thank God.
I know. We need
Thank
that.
God you're comfortable with that. Steph.
Yes.
You have been on quite a bit.
Yeah, but Gabs, you've been on more than me.
Gabs? I don't know. You and Mom had like a couple of
That's
just
true.
recently, you know.
That's true.
You've been at it.
Yeah, we had some good podcasts.
I've actually gone back and listened.
Have
I
you?
liked how you introduced Mom.
Oh.
On Mom's part. She did one that was good about the whole birthing of her grandbaby.
Oh, yeah.
And you did the intro.
Wow, I forgot about that.
Yeah.
That was like a month ago.
And then you did the whole album. You and Mom talked about it. So.
And music business and yeah, that whole thing.
So life's good.
Life is great.
I'm glad you're back in here.
Me too.
Now, today, you could, of course, if you want to hear more from Muiña, you can go way back to season 1. You could subscribe and go back and listen to our different episodes, and the one that we had where we introduced the new family members that are in the family business now. And that's where they first would have been able to meet you, just from a podcaster audience perspective, so they can get to know you. But I've asked you to be in here today, and actually this was Alan Paul, AP, our whole producer, puts everything together, does a great job for us. He says, hey, they have to hear from the Muiñas about what it's like now as first-year parents.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, we're here. We made it.
So we're going to be talking about that. How in the world is it? How do you feel? You're a dad now, Chris.
It's pretty incredible, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Gianna's special. I think we got really blessed with the first one.
Yeah, we did.
And her personality and character and how it comes out in different ways. She's just a lot of fun.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Yep. Great name, Gianna.
Love the name. Gia for short. We're honestly spoiled because she's a really good baby. And I sometimes feel like I can't even share how good she is because I feel bad for other moms and their first children or their second children. And I know I'm gearing up for the second one.
Yep.
Because everybody says the second one's going to be crazy if the first one was great. But Gianna's really a little angel. She's the mom.
You were the second one.
I was the second.
And you were the headache.
Yes.
You're the one that terrorized your brother.
I know. I apologize. I've apologized so many times.
We've asked God, Chris, why in the world the Lord would give you such an easy baby the first time around, because of all the ugly seed Stephanie sowed as a kid. She was horrendous. She was terrible. But not you. You were easy.
I was pretty easy, I think, from so they tell me.
Yeah.
That's why I think Gianna's like him.
Yep.
Little things.
But I'm seeing her like you.
I know.
Man, the other day she got so aggressive at something she was excited about. And I'm like, there was Steph.
She has a temper. She definitely has a temper. And she's learning what it means to not want something. And she's communicating that. So she pushes things down and she pushes things away. And I'm like, okay, if you now know what no means, then I can now start to use no. But she's
wait,
so
you're not one of those
interesting.
parents who are like, don't say no to my kid.
That is so not me. I swear in my mind, I'm from the 50s when it comes to my parenting.
Yeah.
To our parenting. We say no. We like no.
Well, I do got to say, I think this is what is so important when couples get married. They don't always look at the in-laws as being so important. But when I look at your mom and dad, Chris, they're good parents. They're strong. They have their principles that they abide by, and they raise you in a very strong house, so that now both of you come to the table with, okay, we understand what it is to want to go with certain maybe trends for parenting and raising our kid, but you also know that you do have to teach them boundaries, and no is a good boundary. Yes is a good boundary.
Yeah.
So you're okay with doing that. So that's a blessing.
Oh yeah, definitely. And I think I've been able to see just how much of just instincts have come out in Steph
Oh my
of
gosh.
motherly instincts that I never really thought would come up when you're dating somebody or you're married to somebody. You don't really think, how are they going to be as a mom? Like, you don't think about that.
Yeah.
You think it's all learning, that it's all, you have to learn it all. And in reality, a lot of the instincts that have just come out is, I'm like, yeah, let's do that. Like, I like your instincts. I like how you want to do that. And
Scale of 1 to 10.
vice versa.
How is she as a mom?
She's a 10.
Oh,
Yay.
that's sweet.
Thank God. Well, your instincts have come out too. I've noticed that you're very engaged. You're not ashamed to like push the stroller around or change the diapers or sometimes bathe her, which I love.
He's very hands-on.
So hands-on. Even when I was pregnant, he was already starting to build the crib, build the pack and play. But the instincts I've noticed have come out of him I love, because he's strong, but he's tender to a little girl.
Yeah.
But he doesn't want to spoil her too much. He spoils her as a loving father, but he also knows when to draw the line.
Touchy-feely emotionally, let me hug you, let her sleep on me. That's where he's really,
loves that. They call it cariñoso or cariñosa, whatever. And I love that.
Yeah.
But there's been moments where he's like stepped in and been strong with her, and I just love it. I love it.
That's good.
Yeah.
Okay, so in your first year, you were married.
Yes.
How did you do? Pretty good? You enjoyed that first year of marriage?
Yeah.
Loved it.
Yeah. That was good. A lot of adjustments?
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, we're very open and communicative.
Yeah.
And we let each other know what we agree with, what we don't agree with, what we like, what we don't like, what we, want to let stand in as a principle in our marriage, what we don't want to. It's never been like a sweep under the rug type of thing with us.
No.
So it's always been a very open for us.
I should have known that, because the first time you came out, you really mustered up the chutzpah, come up and say, I want to date Steph. And you did it. You didn't push it back. You didn't try to hide it. You came right out to the pool while I was floating and enjoying my rest on a Sunday afternoon. And you asked. And meanwhile, everybody was inside, fingers crossed, hands crossed, praying that it would go well. And you
Peeking
ran
through
down.
the window.
You did. That was cute.
Yeah.
And Steph, what do you think? First year marriage?
We clashed a lot because we were very vocal. But now, on the other side of it, we are so glad we were that vocal.
Yeah.
And we talked about everything. Some nights we were like, okay, you know what? Let's just please reach some peace here. We don't need to disagree. We don't need to talk about all of the disagreements. And that's when I think we started to learn how to just let go of those little things. But I'm so glad we went through that first year of just let's hit every little thing we want to talk about. Of course, with some boundaries of respect. Like, we knew what to cross, what lines not to cross. And I'm so glad we did, because now we didn't know that 2 months into marriage we were going to get pregnant.
Yeah.
And now we have a baby, and that adds on a whole other level of pressure and responsibility. But we were able to handle a lot in that first year of marriage, that now we feel like we're cruising. Like, we've got a lot of things handled.
I hope maybe fingers crossed, you guys can tell the story about Halloween.
The argument before?
Oh my gosh, it's such a great story. People need to hear this story, but we won't tell them just yet.
Oh, come on.
Y'all think
I'm
about
down.
it. Are you? You
Do
got to
wanna
think
share it?
about
It's up to
it.
you.
I mean, I don't mind.
It's a great story. Okay, so set the stage. So your big issue that really your first challenge as a couple that you knew would be a challenge
Yes.
was going to be Halloween.
Yes.
All right. So we in our family would, for the sake of the family and even other families in the church, we'd have events
Yeah.
that were like hallowed happenings, Halloween carnivals, things like that, where as a Christian believer, we didn't celebrate the holiday. We celebrated the day because there were so many other people that would be dressing up, and we wanted to give them a safe place to come to as a church, and even invite some people that don't go to church regularly to it. So
Yeah.
we were very open to the idea, and you guys, as our kids, would go out and enjoy that day. Okay,
Yeah.
not the celebrating
Not
of
the
the event.
celebrating. Yes.
But Muiña was not into that,
No.
and he was more, you know what? We can pick other days to dress up and go party, but let's not do it on that day. I don't want to celebrate Halloween. That
Yeah.
was his upbringing. And so you guys came into this marriage with that one issue that was going to have to be addressed.
Yes.
So the first year was nothing,
Yeah.
right?
I don't remember what happened the first year. I think we just went over. Yeah, we did. We didn't talk about it. We didn't talk about it the first
We
year.
just went to a friend's house.
Yeah, that was it. Then the second year, you take it away,
This
Chris.
year.
You explain it.
Yeah. So let me just clarify that as a new husband and new leader of your own home, I'm trying to, and I think every young husband can put themselves in the shoes, but we're trying to figure out and establish what boundaries and what principles to really set as foundations in, hey, this is our new home, our new life.
Yeah.
And so I'm still learning, where do I draw the line? Where do I let go of things? Where do I put my foot down? Where do I be more lenient? And this was one of those things that I think if you grew up in a Hispanic household, Christian, Halloween is going to be a hot button topic.
Yep.
No matter what.
And I was really shocked at how many people didn't celebrate it like you. I thought it was more people, and then this past year I learned there was a lot more.
Yeah, and I'm thank God that is one of the things in our marriage. It's like, that's so stupid.
Yes, I know.
But
No,
it's a thing.
don't give it away yet. Go.
Go.
So where do you want to go from here?
Okay.
Which, by the way, I respect your view on it and the way you wanted to be fair, because we, of course, as the in-laws, sometimes you watch things from afar. So watching that, and we wondered, now that Gianna's here, even though she's only 6 months at the time, is she going to dress up? Is she going to look like a pumpkin? What's going to be the deal, right? So we respected where you were coming from.
And I
Chris.
want to also say that I want to thank my in-laws and also my
Your
parents
parents.
Yeah.
for kind of just like stepping aside
You're
and letting
right.
us figure it out, because we
Yeah.
didn't have that added pressure from you and
Yeah.
Pastor Mary or from my parents. It was
Yeah.
like, wow, haven't heard a peep from them, which
Yeah.
is great. Which is great to be able to figure things out as a married couple.
That's so true. So okay, I remember now what happened. We wanted to have a nice, peaceful discussion, which is so stupid. I don't know why we think we can actually have those peaceful discussions when we're so emotionally invested into it. And I was like, let's just talk about it. Let's talk about this one night. We got into a huge back and forth. Can you set this up too? Because I don't want to communicate this for you.
Go ahead, do it.
Okay. So we started to get into the conversation of what Halloween was, and it's sad because we wish we can keep the conversation about how do we do this right? How can we come to an agreement? But it never stays there. I've learned with us, it always goes to, well, this is what I believe is right, and this is what I believe is wrong, and there's no if, ands, or buts. There's no gray area.
Mm-hmm.
And it's hard when you're both on two very opposite sides of the spectrum.
Yeah.
And you're like, how the heck are we going to agree? Because we've only gotten further into our convictions. So I had made the remark, listen, because we are allowed to have a glass of wine in our house,
Yep.
because you have allowed us to drink a glass of wine in our house, because we can watch a show with a little bit of curse words, then, and we have the freedom in Christ to do so, we should also have the freedom to dress up Gianna in a costume and go trick-or-treating. That is what I meant when I said that. You took it as...
Well, in the heat of the argument, it didn't come out like that. But I took it as, okay, now she's attacking the principles that I've been establishing in this house as the leader of the home. So if you want to go there, then let's be extreme about all those things that you just mentioned. Like
including your beer.
Yeah, like let's
So you got wine in the fridge, you got beer in the fridge, and so what happened?
So then what happened?
Which, by the way, this is why you have to listen to the podcast.
Yes.
Because we talk about things here that we can't talk about on Sunday
mornings.
So go ahead.
That we're terrible.
So what ended up happening?
So I was like, okay, you wanna go there, and you wanna use that as a tool for your argument. Let's eliminate that. So I just went in the cabinet in the fridge, and I just started dumping a bottle of wine that we had, everything down the drain. And she was like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "Okay, you wanna fight like that?"
That was it.
So you uncorked the wine.
What are you doing?
And you poured it down the drain, and you pulled out beer.
And then I started to say, you budget all of our money so that we could save our money, and now you're wasting all the money by throwing all of our wine and all of the beer down the sink. What are you doing? Stop, Chris. And I'm holding Gianna, and I'm like, stop it, Chris, stop it. And
meanwhile, I just wanted to prove the point. If it cost me $50 and a couple bottles of wine to prove a point, then that's money well spent for me.
Okay, now here's what's really funny from my perspective. Neither of you really care about wine.
No.
Nor beer, because it's not something that you drink regularly.
No.
Maybe once every 6 weeks.
Yeah.
And that's the stuff you're going to use in your argument.
Yeah. I didn't want to use it. He had to use it.
That is great.
I
Okay,
know.
so that was before Halloween.
Yeah.
What ended up happening on Halloween?
Okay, so he had said, we're not going to do trick-or-treating, and you cannot do a costume. And I said, well, there's just one outfit that my sisters bought for Gianna. They bought it for her before she was born, and I would love to just put the outfit on, take a few. It wasn't a costume; it was just a little outfit that said like "Happy Halloween" and it was super cute. And I said, let me just put that on. Let me take a few photos, and then we'll take it right off. Let's invite the family over so we can make it a family night, hang out. And if you can't, let's get a bucket of candy and put it outside. We can talk to the people, because I love the community side of it.
Right.
And he was like, that's fine, but no trick-or-treating. And I thought, good. I think that's a great deal. So
it turned out to be great. We
was
opened up the
awesome.
garage door, and we hung out with, because our neighborhood goes crazy with
It
Halloween.
really did. You guys had a
gosh.
big neighborhood party going on.
it was really fun.
Yeah.
We were able to meet a bunch of neighbors, come through and talk to them. And gosh, we forgot the one thing we wanted to do, which was give out Life Fest flyers. But we were still able to talk to a bunch of neighbors. And
And I
You
said,
played some music?
I played some Chris Stapleton, but what was funny was I was like, if we could sit out there, then we can evangelize. Let's get a huge stack of the Light Fest flyers, and we'll hand them out to all of our neighbors.
So that's to bring some good to the bad holiday.
And we forgot all the
You were
flyers.
sucked in by the bad holiday. Well, we pulled up, I don't know, 30 minutes into this, and all your candy was gone. You definitely didn't have enough candy
Mm-mm.
to give out to the neighbors.
It was, but it was still really fun. You guys
That was
came
great.
over.
Are you kidding?
It was simple. It was nothing. It's how we usually do it.
Yeah.
We don't go all out like that anyways.
Okay, so again, from an in-laws perspective, watching the way y'all handled that, your own business, in a exciting way, but yet in a fair way.
Yeah.
Because Muiña, you gave some way here to what Stephanie wanted, and Steph, you gave way to what Muiña wanted, and that's really special. And guys, that's hard to do as a couple.
Yeah.
There's a lot of couples that just don't do that.
Yeah.
They want it my way or it's the highway. And in the Latin culture, that's even more pronounced sometimes, because the man has to be the voice of authority. So from a father-in-law, Muiña, I appreciate your willingness to be fair.
Yeah.
And Steph, from your father's perspective, Mom and I sat there and looked at it and thought, you know what? he can work. Muiña can work with a wife that's willing to say, I'm okay to bend a little,
Yeah.
because that's being fair
Yeah.
to one another. It just cannot be one way, unless it's a matter of life or death. I mean, really,
Yeah.
if it's a matter of something's going to really hurt you or scar you or your kids, that's different. Somebody's got to take a firm stand. But when it comes to this right here, as a young couple, your first year, now on top of that, you have a baby, putting some more pressure on it. It could have been a lot worse.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's what we're finding to be the most challenging thing of being married is when we're both right, what do we do?
Mhm.
We both have great examples of parents, great examples of growing up. Because it's not like we can see it. She can be like, well, like, look at the product of what you did. And it's like, no, my parents raised 2 great kids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You guys raised 4 great kids.
Yeah.
So what do we do when we're both really right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the challenge, I think,
Yeah.
in being married.
Yeah. And I think it just came down to, well, I have to follow you on this one.
Yeah.
And I trust your word. And if, to me, I just kept saying, well, it's really not that big of a deal. It's really not that big of a deal. And to him, it was.
Yeah.
It really was. And I had to recognize that. And I just wanted us to reach this point of like, let's laugh it off. Let's just let it go. Why can't we just let it go? And we weren't, he was not going to laugh it off. And I had to respect that.
Well, the story part of it is what brings so much humor to it. Because when you all
Yeah.
told us that story, we all around the family at the table just laughed and laughed. It's a great, great story. So that in itself, Steph, it kind of shows you what happens when you introduce a child to the family.
Oof.
You two had already your issues here with this thing, and it wasn't going to be a big deal because your first year married, you already dealt with Halloween, and it wasn't a big deal, whatever you did.
Yeah.
But now bring Gianna into the picture,
My gosh.
and it complicated a little bit more. What other areas do you think having a child complicates the relationship that then you guys have to be able to work on?
You want me to answer that? You want to? I would say something that I've noticed is, like you said, that child brings on pressure because now you feel the responsibility to raise this child as best as you can, which it makes you evaluate what you do. So, and it makes you evaluate what you do as a couple. So how much time you spend on your phone, how much time we're spending with certain friends, it really it adds the pressure because you're like, I could handle my friends acting a certain way. I don't want my kids seeing that. I can handle watching a TV show that curses a little bit. I don't want my child watching that. And it kind of just makes you, it puts it into perspective when you are responsible to raise this child and to make this child into a good Christian. And I think that's what brings that pressure on. What did you want to say though?
I think we started learning that real quick, like a month after Gianna was born, where we turned all our attention to Gianna and just keeping this baby alive, really, that first month. That we really neglected each other in our relationship. And we saw how that, within a month span of neglecting each other, that can make a big impact.
Not in a negative way of neglecting, just being so focused on the baby that you're just not focused on each other. And then you realize,
Right, like, whoa, after a month, that can have an impact on our marriage. So always keep each other at the top of our mind, at the top of our priority things.
Yeah. And just getting rid of those expectations of how you thought it would happen when you were married. And really just embracing what it is.
Yeah.
And like this morning, Gianna woke up and I've been trying to sleep train her. I'm doing a terrible job. I've been trying to feed her now, introducing solids. I'm doing a terrible job. I have food all over me.
Yeah.
She woke up 6 times last night and I'm sleep training her.
Yeah.
I got her down at 8:30, but she was up all night.
Yeah.
And I just was like, you know what, Steph, you got to let this go. Like the expectations you have of raising this baby, it's not real. And you made it up in your mind. Just embrace what it is. And this morning we put her in the bed with us and I was like, this is the most beautiful moment of my life.
Yeah.
Just to be sitting here with our baby. And all it took was just embracing what you have and embracing the
let
moments.
me correct something. You didn't put her to bed at 8:30 last night. I got to hang out with her. By the way, 2 nights in a row. Thank you, Chris. 2 nights in a row for about 3 hours
That's
each
right.
night. So last night you were
was like
leaving the
9.
church at about 9:30, and I'm sure
yeah, that's
Muina's wondering, where is my wife?
That's right.
It's pouring down rain.
That's right.
Right?
Yes. And then
Yeah.
I think I got home like at 10.
Yes.
9:45.
So she's supercharged by all this excitement. Last night, just here, you had kids
I know.
being, they were practicing for their play. So she's so energized watching that. I take her out into the lobby and they have salsa dancing in the Salsa Connect group. So she got excited, kicking her feet, watching them salsa dance. Then I took her next door to go see Gabby in the youth group. And when we walked in, the music was playing. And you know how excited she gets when the music plays in church.
She's crazy.
She was kicking. So she was on all cylinders.
Hence the sleep training.
The sleep training.
This poor girl does not know how to go to sleep after a long day.
Okay, so one more thing let me throw at you. We just did our first holiday of Thanksgiving with the family.
Mm-hmm.
And we went up to our farm. Now, easy for Mom and I, because we want to be there. Easy for Gabby and Lauren, because they don't have other significant others in their lives. Not so easy for the two of you, especially since it's an 8 to 9, 10-hour drive, and you have an infant with you, all right? And not so easy for Chris and Rochelle because of being married and having to all of us be in the one big house,
Yes.
all right? And yet, let me say publicly, thank you, Muiña, for doing it not once, but twice, and taking the time to do that and put yourself in the environment. Yeah, it paid off because we got to hunt. All that's fun. But still,
it's a lot.
It's a lot because you have your family that you want to spend your time with, Chris, which is totally understandable. And yet Steph wants to spend time with her family, and y'all have the baby in the middle of it. All right, big question, not prepared maybe for the answer, but this is a big issue for some families. How did y'all come to an agreement and willingness to say, we're going to go ahead and put in the time and sacrifice 600 miles away to go up and put the baby in the car and do all of this for almost 2 full weeks of time? How did y'all manage that?
I mean, I don't know. We just do, Pastor.
Yeah.
We just do things. I think we really have learned to set aside expectations.
Yes.
And what's expected of us because of social media, because of what other couples do or what we've seen them do. And we're just going to do us. I mean, we have a very non-typical lifestyle. I mean, Gianna's in church in the evenings till 10 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
Like most babies aren't doing that.
Right.
On a she has a full workday Sundays.
Yes, she does.
So we do it with her in mind, yes, and we wake up at 4 a.m. and we're on the road so that she's sleeping for most of it to help with that. But we just do things. And obviously with the lens of, is this going to be good for us? And spending time with family is always going to be good for us.
Yeah.
But there's a balance. Like now we'll spend Christmas with my side of the family.
Yep.
Yes.
And my family knows that and understands that.
Yeah.
So thank God we have understanding families on both ends, where you guys are now open to, hey, we had them for Thanksgiving.
Yep.
The Muiñas are going to have them for Christmas. And my parents are the same.
Yeah.
So we're super blessed to have understanding in-laws and families.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I would say I noticed you can't keep a record of wrongs in marriage, and you can't keep a record of rights.
Yeah.
And
Keep score.
You can't keep score.
Good.
And because it'll really overwhelm you if you count up all the times I went to your family's house and all the times you went to mine. It just leads to nowhere to keep score. So he said it perfectly. We just kind of we throw out the balance. We throw it out, and we just do what we want to do, knowing how is this going to put too much pressure on us? Is this going to lead to arguments? Are we feeling like we're getting quality time with each other? Do you feel like you're getting quality time with your family? I feel like, am I getting quality time with mine? And just figuring out what works for us. And again, that first year actually gave us a lot of lessons for this second year, because we learned what our needs are. I know after a couple days, he needs quality time, just us two.
Yeah.
And it's just sitting on the couch watching TV and having popcorn. I have a couple days of my go before he needs quality time. And I'm the exact same way. And we know Saturday mornings or Friday mornings, we want to wake up and we want to make pancakes and we want to watch our TV shows.
Yep.
That's what fills our tank. That's what makes us feel like we got our quality time in. And we balance that. There's some Saturday mornings we have to be at church, some Friday mornings we have to be with family, but we just don't think about it. We keep going. We keep a calendar. We put in a little bit of effort to maintain that quality time. But because that first year we talked a lot about what we needed and we communicated, it allowed us to figure out how to do it in the second year.
Well, you learned quick with Stephanie's quality time is like her love language. She really loves that, and she's got two sisters that she's been super close with. So that time you give her, Muiña, to spend it with them is really appreciated, and it's valuable. It's a great investment into her happiness. And Steph, you recognizing the man that he is, the time that he needs he's got a sister, but he's kind of the only boy as I was growing up. Sometimes we just like being alone, away from the chatter, and and we don't want our wives to leave us.
No.
We just want them within earshot if we need them.
Oh
and
my
that's great
gosh.
that you can understand that about Muiña, and that helps the two of you. Well, we all work with one another. So it gives us an unfair advantage over your parents, Muiña, because we see you all the time and we get to see Gianna all the time. That's because we all work together. Of course, we don't get to always have fun when we're working because we are working, but it's quantity time, not quality time.
Yeah.
But we do thank you for being understanding and balanced. And, the old saying, we try to live by, to whom much is given, much is required. We recognize that as much time as we're given outside to connect as a family, and we're spending a lot of time in the offices working at our campuses. And like tonight, we got an event. Tomorrow night, we've got an event. Saturday's going to be a big, you got hiking with young kids coming up. Muiña, you're going to be off or busy on your supposedly days off. We try to balance all of that out with other times when we're given freedoms and luxuries. So it's a balancing act. And Mom and I just, if she was here at your table today, she would just applaud you both. You're doing a great job. We don't see the stress on you. We see a real healthy marriage relationship. Just relationally, you seem to both really care and like each other. Want to be friends, and you've birthed a beautiful baby, and there'll be more coming. And so, anything you want to say before we close?
I guess a word of encouragement.
Yeah.
The greatest piece that we found was when we stopped comparing our relationship to our friends' marriages.
Good.
And there's some things that our friends' marriages, they allow in their marriage, and it's not dysfunctional, it's not unhealthy, but we just don't want it in ours, and vice versa. And when we reached peace with, hey, I'm proud of how we do it. I'm proud of our dynamic. I'm proud of our schedule. I'm proud of how we communicate. And we just stopped comparing completely. It brought a lot of peace, and it brought a lot of pride to who we are. And that I would just encourage others to do.
Yeah. Thank you for having us. I think this is an interesting conversation. A lot of probably young couples are probably either going through it or going to go through it soon. So I'm glad we were able to talk about it.
Yeah.
Good. Well, listen, when you have the best, there's no comparison.
Yeah.
So you all need to be confident in your decisions. You never have to compare yourself to others, because you really have a lot on your side of things that make you a real healthy home. And health to me is always the goal. So a lot to be said. We will be talking about one thing as a family, though, and we'll just I'll prepare you for it. Because what we've noticed with Gianna is how important it is. You have your child. Christopher and Rochelle are going to be having their little child next year. You bring Gianna to the house. We respect the fact that you don't want her watching TV, too much TV.
In the first year,
We respect the fact that you don't want her being so engaged on the phone. So we respect that. And we like that, quite frankly. Because it's a lazy parenting style to just put your child in front of something, TV or a phone, electronic, and say, keep my kid busy. We have so much at our home. We got chickens, we got dogs, we got a backyard pool. We're going to have the swing set. We got so much to keep them occupied and busy. So it says to Mary and I, we're thinking, as a family, we need to come up with certain values that are just non-negotiable in our family.
Yeah.
So that when your Gianna goes over to Christopher's house to play with her cousin,
and they have a TV
if they have a TV on or giving them a phone, it could cause conflict. So we all have to get on the same page, and we're willing to do that and make sure that it's something that's going to be healthy for the family.
I know, and I feel like me and my brother are going to actually tag team against Lolo and Gabby. That is my prediction.
All I know is that in Lauren's home, they're all going to be eating good.
Yeah.
Her kids are going to be healthy and eating good, no doubt about it.
Gabby's probably won't be.
Well, thank you for joining us with another edition of the Family Business with the Alessis, because family is everybody's business, and I hope you've enjoyed it. And if you have, share this episode with every couple you know that may be newly married or new parents. Take care.
Hey there, if you enjoyed this episode of the Family Business Podcast with the Alessis, then you'll want to know we've got more insight, more encouragement, more great conversations that we can have on Sundays, and even some surprises coming your way. So you want to make sure you subscribe to our channel and watch one of these next videos here next, because remember, family is everybody's business.